Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking on a truly fascinating individual, someone who really lived at this unexpected intersection of intellect and artistry. We're diving into a recent AP News article that announced the passing of a legend, really. A man who navigated two, seemingly totally different worlds with just remarkable wit and brilliance.
That's right. This deep dive is all about Tom Lehrer. Now, that name might immediately conjure images of those sharp satirical songs for many people. I know it does for me. But what's equally compelling, and maybe less known, is his significant identity as a serious mathematician.
Yeah.
So our mission today is to really dig into how these two incredible parts of his life, the music and the math, how they actually intersected, or maybe how they didn't, and what that tells us about what made him just so unique.
Right. So this announcement of his passing, it really highlights this remarkable duality right from the start. We start with the news itself. Tom Lehrer passed away recently, age 97, had his home in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And the article, it wastes no time calling him both a song satirist and a mathematician.
Exactly. And what's fascinating there is how immediately the source does that. It highlights both aspects right up front. It signals that this wasn't just, a hobbyist on either side. This was someone deeply committed, it seems, to both fields throughout his very long life. It wasn't like one identity just overshadowed the other.
Okay, let's jump into his musical legacy first then, because that's probably how most of us know him. He lampooned everything. I mean, marriage, politics, racism, the Cold War, you name it. But he did it in such a distinctive way, didn't he? How do you think he managed to attack so many sacred cows but still kind of be loved by so many?
That's a great question. It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? His style? It was notably erudite, almost polite, which is remarkable given how sharp the criticisms actually were.
Polite, yeah. That's a good word for it.
The source even says he attacked in a manner that almost no one objected. I think it speaks to his intellect, maybe. He wasn't really attacking people so much as ideas, and often with this, wry smile behind the words. It felt more like intellectual dissection than, aggressive confrontation. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, I mean, he was truly a pioneer. You see artists like Randy Newman, even Weird Al Yankovic, citing him as a clear influence.
Wow. Yeah, you can hear that. What really strikes me about his songs, though, is how he packed so much punch into such short pieces. They were short, sharp, and just unforgettable. Can you walk us through some examples, the ones that really showcase that unique brevity and wit?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about poisoning pigeons in the park. It's just hilariously morbid.
Right.
Or the old Dope Peddler, which cleverly uses that familiar tune. Sounds like the old lamplighter. Very cheeky. And then there's Be Prepared, where he just openly mocked the Boy Scouts. No holding back.
He really went there.
He did. And maybe most famously, the Vatican Rag. Now, Lehrer was an atheist, and he's poking fun at the rites and ceremonies of the Catholic Church. You know those lyrics. Get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect, and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect.
Oh, the image that song creates is just, it's perfect satire. And his early songs, too, like I Want to Go Back to Dixie, just lampooning the attitudes of the Old South. Or Fight Fiercely Harvard, imagining how a, quote, prissy Harvard blue blood might sing a football fight song. He just had this knack, didn't he, for zeroing in on the absurdities.
You really, really did.
Yeah.
And despite, a relatively small body of work, we're talking maybe 3 dozen songs in total, roughly his influence was just immense.
Only 3 dozen, wow.
Yeah. But think about the impact. Musicologist Barry Hansen, Dr. Demento, who co-produced Lehrer's 2000 boxed set, The Remains of Tom Lehrer, Hansen flat out called him the most brilliant song satirist ever recorded.
High praise.
Extremely high praise. And Hansen featured his music for decades on his syndicated Dr. Demento radio show. That tells you something about his lasting appeal,
Absolutely. And he played piano himself, right, accompanied himself. With this colorful style reminiscent of Gilbert and Sullivan, maybe?
Yeah.
And even his friend Stephen Sondheim.
That comparison comes up.
Yeah, and he was often likened to contemporaries like Alan Sherman, Stan Freiberg, and he wasn't afraid to mock the very forms of music he disliked, like modern folk songs, rock and roll, modern jazz. It's almost like he was satirizing satire itself sometimes, or at least the culture around it.
He certainly had a clear sense of what he found musically compelling and what he didn't. He definitely used his art to critique both society and culture.
Okay, but then there's this whole other side, the equally compelling connection to mathematics. He was a Harvard prodigy, got his math degree from Harvard at just 18 years old. That's astonishing.
It truly is.
Yeah.
And not just, a math degree. He specialized in things like probability, set theory,
Yeah.
areas that demand a very particular kind of rigorous logical thinking,
Right.
which naturally raises this important question.
Yeah.
Why would someone with such a clear, demonstrable talent for performance and satire, why would he largely step away from it and, eventually settle into teaching math? He stayed on the math faculty at UC Santa Cruz well into his late 70s.
And he had such a unique perspective on his academic life. I read he once said, "I just wanted to be a grad student. It's a wonderful life."
Yeah.
Apparently, he spent years trying unsuccessfully to get a doctorate, basically because he just enjoyed being a grad student.
Yeah,
It sounds like he wasn't really chasing the degree itself, but maybe the intellectual freedom that came with it.
exactly. That seems to be the case. And it wasn't just some nominal role he had at Santa Cruz. It was a real math class, as he put it.
A real math class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he even recounted that students would sometimes enroll because they knew his songs, right? But then they'd find out he didn't do any funny theorems. So those people go away pretty quickly.
Huh. That's brilliant.
It really highlights his seriousness about the mathematics, despite his public persona as the funny songwriter. Does that intellectual framework, do you think, does that somehow translate into the razor-sharp precision we hear in his lyrics?
Oh, I think absolutely. Yeah. When you look closely at his songs, they're not just funny, they're incredibly precise, almost elegantly structured, like mathematical proofs in a way.
Mm-hmm. Logical.
Very logical. And it's fascinating how he approached his creative output, too. He famously said, "When I got a funny idea for a song, I wrote it. And if I didn't, I didn't." He added, "I wasn't like a real writer who would sit down and put a piece of paper in the typewriter.
Right.
And when I quit writing, I just quit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I had writer's block. He just stopped when he didn't have ideas."
That's such a crucial point, I think. His academic life, the fact that he didn't need the fame or the money from music that might have given him this unparalleled freedom.
Mm-hmm. No pressure.
Exactly. He wrote when he was inspired without those commercial pressures that can sometimes, dilute a satirist's edge. And he also wasn't comfortable with public performance, apparently. He viewed it almost as redundant.
Redundant. How so?
Well, he told the Associated Press back in 2000 something like, "I enjoyed it up to a point, but to me, going out and performing the concert every night when it was all available on record would be like a novelist going out and reading his novel every night."
Oh, that makes perfect sense, actually. He didn't see the value in repeating himself when the recording already existed. But despite largely quitting touring, he did contribute creatively over the years. He notably produced a political satire song each week for that 1964 TV show, That Was the Week That Was, which, interestingly, kind of anticipated Saturday Night Live.
It really did. A precursor.
Yeah. And he later released those songs on the album That Was the Year That Was. That album included songs like Who's Next, pondering who'd get the nuclear bomb next, maybe Alabama, which was, a bastion of segregation then.
Powerful stuff for the time.
And pollution, too, addressing the then new idea of actually cleaning up rivers and lakes.
And perhaps most telling about his priorities, he also wrote songs for the kids' educational show in the 70s, The Electric Company.
Yeah, I remember those. Silent E.
Exactly. And he told the AP that hearing from people who had benefited from those educational songs, that gave him far more satisfaction than any praise for his satirical work.
Wow. That's a powerful statement, isn't it, about where he really found his greatest meaning.
It really is.
And then in 2020, in a move that just feels so Lehrer, so reflective of his unique philosophy, he basically turned away from his own copyright. He granted the public permission to use his lyrics, any format, no fee, just take them.
Incredible, right? It just underscores that deep disinterest in the commercial side of things, prioritizing the spread of ideas and knowledge, whether it was through satire or mathematics.
Yeah. His songs were also revived, I think, in the 80s in a musical review called Tomfoolery. And he actually made a rare public appearance in 98 in London to honor its producer. So he wasn't totally disconnected.
No, not totally, but definitely on his own terms. He wasn't beholden to the traditional demands of the entertainment industry at all.
So, okay, what does this all mean for you, our listener? Tom Lehrer's life, I think, was just a testament to following your own intellect, your own curiosity, wherever it leads, whether that's to a piano or a chalkboard. He truly showed us that a sharp mind doesn't have to pick just one path.
Yeah, and his story raises a really important question for all of us, maybe. In a world that often pressures us, to specialize, to pick a lane, how much richness do we lose by not embracing our varied curiosities, even when they seem contradictory? Lehrer's life seems to suggest that those intersections, those unexpected overlaps, that might be where true brilliance actually lies.
Indeed. A lot to think about there. We hope this deep dive into Tom Lehrer's life leaves you with maybe a fresh perspective on what it means to be truly well-informed, truly multifaceted, and perhaps encourages you to explore your own unexpected intersections of interest.